Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrificed my time so you don't have to. Oh boy. So, we're going into the football season, and typically when you go into the football season, professional wrestling, it tends to, it tends to drip a little bit down as far as the enthusiasm, and, the product in itself usually reciprocates that same notion, because what's the point of trying when we're going to get demolished by football? Luckily, in professional wrestling, it's not just the content that's shown on television, but it's the content that stays on the internet, right? That's where the drama comes along. And boy, oh boy, do I need the drama, because if it ain't for the drama, right now I might be struggling for the content, okay? So, check this out real quick. I'll leave the links down in the description box below. This is all stemming off of an issue in regards to Tessa Blanchard making some remarks on an interview, and then Chelsea Green responding to her. And I want to give a little bit more clarification by talking about our past history, talking about the quote that kind of correlates with these past history, and then we'll talk about Chelsea Green, and then we'll come to a conclusion as to how we feel about this whole entire situation regarding Tessa Blanchard. So like I said, link is down in the description box below. They're in chronological order. Follow along if you will. Tessa Blanchard details mental health struggles after bullying accusations. Chelsea Green responds. I know she responded on this one, but I want to save that one for the very, very last excerpt. I got one more thing I want to read for you before I read Chelsea Green's response. In January of 2020, as she was on the verge of winning the then Impact World title in one of the biggest intergender matches in recent pro wrestling history, Tessa Blanchard tweeted a message about the importance of supporting women. In response, several of Blanchard's former co-workers replied with stories of being bullied by the second-generation star, and one who accused her of using a racial slur while doing so. Now, we're going to get more into that in a little bit, but I want to kind of just skip ahead about 4 years later around this point in time, right? Where Tessa Blanchard, she had an interview with this podcast called Straight Talk Wrestling, right? And I want to read you an excerpt because this, and, people who are going to hear this, I don't give a shit about trigger warnings or any of that stupid safe space shit. But at the same time, though, I am going to read something, and, it might kind of flare up some feelings. So if you want to skip a little bit forward, by all rights, go ahead. I'm not your mom, I'm not your dad, I don't give a shit about your life, but at the same time though, forewarning you that I'm going to read some things that might be a little bit pinching at your mental capacity. But here, this is what she said, and I quote. So, when everything happened to me, it was even like a tough topic to even talk about. I remember I was living in Tijuana at the time, and I remember some days I would wake up, I didn't even have the strength to live that day, so I would just go back to bed, and I would be in my bed all day long. There were days where I was tired about life, just because my identity was wrestling. I didn't know who I was without wrestling, and in a matter of less than 24 hours, it was from here to boom. From contract offers from the biggest companies, more money than I'd ever seen in my life, to nothing. This whole Impact World title is what she's referencing. Storyline we had built up for 8 or 9 months to me begging the TNA office that day, I don't want to win it. I don't want to do this. And after, I didn't go home. I went on a 27-day media tour in Mexico where I remember we would pull over in the Uber before every interview and I would vomit. I was just puking and puking because it was whiplash. I didn't know, and I was seeing and hearing, and my family, my little brother and sister were 14 years old at the time, were reading all these things about me that I knew wasn't me, I knew wasn't in my heart, I wasn't this person, but it didn't matter. Perception's reality, right? The truth doesn't matter, and even the real truth isn't even out there still, and it doesn't matter. But sometimes those things happen because when your feet are pretty far off the ground, when you fall hard, and I didn't know my identity without wrestling. And through all of that, through those ups and downs, those really hard days that I didn't know if I was going to get through, I found out who Tessa is without wrestling. Now, as I kind of alluded to before, I want to read you some of these allegations apparently that Tessa Blanchard was involved in to kind of give a little bit of context as to what she's referencing, right? So this is from the Sportster. I'm going to scroll down a little bit further because I want to go directly into the passage in itself, kind of outlining the things that kind of got her canceled, right? Or canceled, I guess canceled too, right? So we're going to go to this portion of the Sportster on the second link that says, why Tessa Blanchard was canceled by the wrestling business and its fans. So check this out. Tessa Blanchard's wrestling career faced a significant setback when multiple allegations of bullying and racism were raised against her by fellow wrestlers Chelsea Green, Allison Kay, Priscilla Kelly, the now Gigi Dolan, I believe, Renee Michelle, who, by the way, I think that's Rockstar Spud's wife, if I'm not mistaken, Shayna, and Tania Brooks, I think I said her name right, as reported by Forbes. These accusations flooded pro wrestling Twitter, drawing attention from various national wrestling promotions in the United States. The controversy began when Blanchard posted a tweet urging women to support each other. Although the message itself seemed positive, it carried a somewhat condescending tone. This triggered a wave of backlash. And accusatory tweets from prominent female voices in the wrestling industry. Green accused Blanchard of bullying and demeaning numerous female workers. Why'd I say it like that? While Kay made a more severe claim that Blanchard has spat in a black woman's face in Japan and used racial slurs against her. Green, Black Rose from NWA, Brooks, and Shayna, not Shayna Baszler, but a different Shayna, echoed this allegation, asserting that Blanchard had engaged in further inappropriate behavior during their time in Japan. Blanchard vehemently denied these accusations, and no concrete evidence was presented against her. However, the damage was done, and her wrestling career began to decline. Nevertheless, recently, Blanchard reconciled with La Rosa Negra, one of the individuals involved in the controversy. La Rosa Negra took to social media, sharing a photo of herself alongside Blanchard, signaling a resolution between them. In her tweet, La Rosa said that the incident serves as a reminder that as humans, we have a responsibility to be better and treat others with kindness. While Blanchard's career suffered as a result of the allegations, it is important to strive for personal growth and foster a more compassionate and understanding environment. Also, just to notate the fact, just to kind of collude with this a little tiny bit, it does show other portions of the article that suggest that it wasn't just this. Her no-showing TNA also apparently affected her as far as the wrestling business standing is considered, because if you're willing to do this with TNA, you're going to do this to AEW, you're going to do this to WWE. All these companies, they might not like each other as far as the higher-ups are considered, but all the grunts are all friends in the end of the day, and they're in important positions, and if you're fucking over one wrestling company, 9 times out of 10 they're going to tell the next wrestling company that, hey, this guy right here is a complete fuck up, maybe not sign him or her, you know what I mean? So her no showing some of these CMLL events, some of these events in TNA also, it didn't help her at all. And also, just to throw this out here too, I forgot where I heard this from, but the whole shit, was it the WOW women's wrestling shit or whatever? It was some shit that happened to do with either WOW or the promotion that AJ Lee was working for like a year or two ago before it got canceled, or maybe that was WOW. I can't remember, but I heard Tessa Blanchard had the opportunity to star in one of these wrestling promotions. I think it was the AJ Lee one, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong though. But apparently she got into a bit of altercations in regards to that also. As a matter of fact, let me look that up real quick. I don't want to just throw out baseless accusations without having something to back it up. I'll link that too. Okay, I found it. So, I mean, this is Reddit in the end of the day, but it is touted by Fightful. So this was about 2 years ago. It said Tessa has not been fired from WOW, but she is no longer factoring into their plans. She was not part of the tapings that recently occurred in any capacity. After Fightful's original reporting was posted earlier this month, multiple people reached out to say that it was indicated to them there could be legal recourse between the two sides and were concerned about possibly being involved in that. Blanchard was livid after a January tryout was canceled by CBS due to COVID, with David McLean getting the finger pointed at him. One source said to Fightful that things had to get bad for fallout to occur between McLean and Blanchard. McLean has stuck by Blanchard for multiple controversies throughout the years. Sources within the company said that WOW was even able to lure back some people that swore they never worked with Blanchard again, only to see more of the same. At one point, the WOW project was planned in part to be a rehabilitation project for Blanchard, but the business strategy shifted towards August of 2021 when WOW started to go after AJ Lee. After they managed to sign Lee, the plan shifted to Tessa being the primary in-ring name, with Lee being the veteran face of the company. Okay, so All right, so I guess we got the gist of that for the most part. So I guess it was the AJ Lee company, and I guess, wow, it was the AJ Lee company. I forgot all about this. I just remembered off the top of my mind. But it's just to kind of paint out a bigger picture for you guys that the allegations in regards to the racism and the bully and stuff, that's not just the only allegations that coincide with Tessa Blanchard's name. Is that she can be a bit of a pain in the ass to most wrestling companies she fucks with, right? Which brings us to our last link that I want to talk about real quick. And this is Chelsea Green's response to the earlier link that I talked about in regards to Tessa Blanchard talking about she wanted to, do self-harm to herself or, anything around the notion of that because of her past couple of years and situations in regards to that, right? So this is Chelsea Green after hearing that excerpt, right? Chelsea Green, she says, hang on, expanding the tweet real quick. She says, I don't wish self-harm or thoughts of suicide on anyone and hope she has found peace. However, a simple I am sorry goes a long way. We haven't heard that yet. Accountability matters, and a redemption tour of interviews won't erase the actions of an egotistical bully. So that was Chelsea Green. And look, Chelsea Green, for what I can understand, I've never heard a bad word about her. Always seemed like a joy. Always seems like a person who can take the bad and then spin it and make it good for herself, right? So I got no reason to listen to what Chelsea Green is saying and think to myself that she's coming at this in bad faith. Like one of the SJWs who want to hold people accountable, but in reality, they're just virtue signaling in order to get likes on their posts. Doesn't really come off that way when, hearing Chelsea Green talk about it. When I hear people like Chelsea Green talk, especially in a situation like this, when you don't really hear her talk, it more so comes off like I've been through a lot of shit with you. And even though it's years old, we can move past that. I'm still not willing to forgive you because I know the real person. I know who you are. I know you're a snake in the grass. And if you're not willing to do the right things going forward, if you're really willing to do just a pity party for yourself, then no, I don't accept your apology. I don't want you to do anything to yourself. I don't want you going out of your way to harm yourself. But at the same time, no, I don't accept your apology. Your apology means nothing to me. Why would I accept your apology? All the things that you did to me, all the things that you did to my friends, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to forgive you because you want to harm yourself? Again, don't harm yourself. Again, don't wish that on you. But no, do the work. Do the work. Go out there and actually, on your, what would you call it, like a redemption arc or whatever. And you know what? Typically, you guys know me when it comes to this channel. I like to go against the mob. I don't like mob rule. I don't like piling up on someone. But like I said, and this is the reason why I wanted to paint that context for you guys with all these links. I said all these things because I wanted to paint out a broader picture for you in regards to Tessa Blanchard, especially considering that I've never really, I think I approached this topic once back in like 2021, but I've never legitimately went out of my way to really, or maybe it was even 2020 when I actually did this video. But I've never had the opportunity to talk about this in front of a larger audience, right? Which is the case right now, thank God. I get how always having to line up with the mob is never a good thing. I get whenever you line up with the mob, there's almost always going to be a lot of context left out and people are dealt harm. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the YouTube channel. They're called Super Mega, right? Never really watched their channel before, but I've seen all the allegations that was piling up against them, right? I highly recommend watching a video from this YouTube channel named Turkey Tom. Has an extensive video. You don't even have to know the people. You don't have to know the channel. He did such a phenomenal job at editing. And it's like a 2-hour video or like a 3-hour video that kind of maps everything out. Highly recommend watching the video. You don't have to know any of the characters or the television show, or excuse me, the YouTube channel in general. He does such a great job that it legitimately just feels like a regular television show, or I guess the movie, right? Even with you not knowing the people, you kind of start relating to the characters to a certain degree. That's how good of a job he did. But it's real life. And these people, Lex Updog, Lav, Rav, Morgue Pie, the chick from Pornhub. There's a bunch of people who are playing into all this. That douchebag Ethan is online, and the other guy, what's his name? Nick is not green, or green is not Nick. These people all play a factor into the downfall of Super Mega, and they really went after them. They really tried to fuck them over, and it was learned because everybody dogpiled Super Mega. Everybody dogpiled. I don't want to get into the context though, because I want you guys to watch the video. Because again, Turkey Tom did such a phenomenal job at it. It's just everybody dogpiled on these guys and made them the villain. Like legitimately ruined their careers. They were at 1 million viewers, and I don't even think they have they made it back to 1 million viewers yet. They were at 1 million viewers, and the last time I checked, they were like at 950,000 or something like that. Let me see something. I'm actually very curious. Super Mega. I'm curious. They still haven't recovered yet. They're at 976,000. That's how much damage was done to their names. So much damage is done to their names that they still haven't recovered to 1 million views yet. Only for everything to be found out, and they were treated like shit. Everything was misinterpreted. Everything was misconstrued. Lies were told in order to make them seem a hell of a lot worse than what they really are. My point being is, I get it. Dogpiling on one person is never a good thing, especially when you don't have the context, especially when you don't have the evidence, right? Concrete evidence. But it does say something. I kind of relate this to the Britt Baker video when we talked about her stuff yesterday in regards to all the accusations regarding her and all the stuff in regards to the allegations that coincide with the rumors circulating around her as to why I'm okay with dogpiling on her, because it's been documented. When you see the attitude from Tessa Blanchard in regards to the rest of these companies who don't want to do business with her, that's when it gets to me. Because, I feel like if there was really anything wrong with Tessa Blanchard, there would have been a whole ass investigation into everything that was said about her, right? But it's not just the investigation. It's the no-showing, right? It's the attitude shown to executives in regards to her show that could have easily rebuilt her reputation, that she herself purposely has not done business with. See, Tessa Blanchard was supposed to be the next Charlotte Flair. You guys remember that? You guys remember how many people were saying before this stuff back in 2018, 2019? I think she was actually inside one of the women tournament things in WWE they used to do back in the days that Kairi Sane, I think Shayna, no, I don't think Shayna Baszler won. Did Shayna Baszler win one? The little Mae Young tournament shits. I think she was in one of those also, and people were touting her as like, holy shit, she's gonna be the next Charlotte Flair. And to be quite frank, if any of that stuff wouldn't have happened, she probably would have been in WWE like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. Probably be one of the biggest women wrestlers in the world right now as we speak. Probably would have gotten that Charlotte and Tessa Blanchard WrestleMania match last year, or maybe, coming up this year, because obviously Charlotte is, injured at the moment. Always remember, she was supposed to be a big deal. And if WWE wanted her, they would have gotten her. But there's a reason why they didn't want her. And if not WWE, AEW, you don't think AEW wanted to have a response at the time back in 2020, 2021? You don't think they didn't want a response to Charlotte Flair? They already had Britt Baker at that point in time. You don't think they wanted someone side by side with Britt Baker? You don't think they wanted to recreate the whole Charlotte and Sasha Banks feud with Britt Baker and Tessa Blanchard, who's right there on the market? Yet neither company fought with her. That says something about the accusations. Now, like I said, I'm all for second chances. And I honestly don't see this as a reason as to why, Tessa Blanchard should be completely written out. She should be blackballed from the entire company. I get why people will have that reasoning. And I think I said this back in 2020 when I talked about the situation. I don't think she should be blackballed completely. But at the same time, like Chelsea Green said, you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to come correct. She's still really young. How old is Tessa Blanchard? Like, what, 29? I don't even think she's 30 yet. She's still in her 20s. Like, there's still time, man. There's still time. Put in the work. Really go out there and try your best to put this all behind you. It's never going to be fully behind you. There's always going to be people who are going to bring it up. But it's probably best to put in the work and do your best and put your best foot forward. Making horrible decision after horrible decision after horrible decision ain't gonna help you going forward. And if you think you going out there with the self-pity party and the I don't want to do this to myself and I always have thoughts of doing this to myself, that's not gonna work, bro. You're too far gone. I think for both sides, on my side of the camp, as far as people who are a little bit more edgy, they look at your situation and they say to themselves, stop acting like a pussy. And on the other side, the people who are, usually relate to you and be a little bit more empathetic, allegedly you said a bunch of racist shit. So, you lost credibility with both sides. You're by yourself. You're like Batista, you walk alone. The only question is, do you continue walking or do you sit there and just wallow in your misery and pity until you eventually become even more irrelevant compared to what you are right now and no use to anybody? Hopefully not even yourself, right? Hopefully you don't feel useless to yourself is what I'm trying to say. Not trying to wish or advocate for anything happening to anyone, folks. Don't skip it to yourself, okay? God damn it. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because this was circulating all over the news, and it's just, on one hand, it's one of those situations where I think to myself, I get it. I understand why people are upset at her. But at the same time, it does kind of feel like, I don't know, like we were robbed of special events. Like I'm not a big proponent of women's wrestling, but I know how good Tessa Blanchard is, right? I know what her lineage lies at. I know the potential stories that we could have gotten out of this, and to know that it was ruined and, ruined on behalf of such a young talent. All this stuff happened when she was like 24 or 25 years old. To know that all of it is gone just like that, through no fault of anyone but her own. Actions catching up to her. That's the crime right there. That's the crime. That's the shame right there, man. All that potential wasted. But like I said, I think there's still time. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below about everything that we discussed today. Obviously, got to hear some of your opinions in regards to Tessa. Got to hear your opinions in regards to Chelsea. Do you think that there's a step in the right direction Tessa can go into? Let me know your thoughts down below. And I'm about to get the fuck up out of here because there are more important things I have to do. Like probably beat off the chest. How good looking is Tessa as far as her body's considered? Man, she probably not beat off material. Fuck. I'm gonna go back to beating off of Nicki Minaj. Hey, wait a minute. Hold up. You didn't hear that. You probably did. Yeah. Nicki Minaj got a fat ass though, bro. Alright, gotta go do that. As always, my name is Devontae, and I'll be catching you guys later. A deuces and a P. Eyes. Where my fucking Nicki Minaj flick video at? Where my Nicki Minaj?